If you're looking for a little bit of good news when it comes to prices, hey, you're paying less for rent in the Valley, and it's not just a tiny drop in the bucket. According to apartmentlist.com, we've seen a double-digit percentage drop over the last couple of years.
Joining us with those numbers is the numbers guy at ABC 15, our favorite bean counter, data analyst Garrett Archer, known as the data guru on social media. Garrett, good morning, and we want to know how much, right? How much less are rents costing us in the Valley?
Well, yeah, it's definitely good news if you're renting an apartment in the Valley right now. Prices, peaked in 2022, and what that apartment listing analysis showed was that prices in the Phoenix Metro went down 11.5%, so almost 12% since 2022, and that's a massive decline. Now, of course, that is conditional on that you are renting an apartment and not a house.
Right, because that's the difference is that you need to be in a multi-family, community there as opposed to renting from an individual, right?
Yeah. So the other data we saw, like on Zillow, who tracks this data monthly, and several others track this data monthly, but Zillow does break out multifamily units, which is basically an apartment complex or a house. And what Zillow shows is actually the price trends for houses in Phoenix are actually going up. So they're not going up anywhere near the velocity that they did from 2020 to 2022, but they are tracking upwards. So there is a divergence. Typically, there's not. If you look at 10 years of data, there's almost no change in trends except for since 2022, when, again, house rents are going up and apartment rents are going down.
All right, so let's kind of parse this out a little bit. So why are the houses not being pressured down like apartments are?
Sure. I think that I did a story yesterday on this too, and we were looking at the supply of multifamily housing, and it does seem that Arizona went through a building boom of multifamily housing units. We were building about 800 to 600 on average each month, or at least pulling permits for them until about 2018, 2019, when we really pushed forward. I mean, this is just before the pandemic. We started seeing permits being pulled for apartment units that started getting into the thousands a month. We even got to 2,200 in the peak months in 2022. And so we just had this boom of supply. We've got the fourth highest supply just in 2025 alone, the fourth highest number of units coming online in the country. So I think when you look at that, you have housing supply. The renting supply for housing hasn't really changed all that much in the last several years, whereas apartments, you got more supply and the basic laws of supply and demand, right?
My next question then is this, are we, now that we've seen kind of this big, it feels like a honking big drop, are we going to see a kind of a leveling off at this point?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely the trends are not collapsing. Don't get me wrong. They're going, in the direction that renters want to see. And we're losing, I want to say 1% to 2% each year right now in rent. So I don't expect, again, trends of rents going down. I don't expect in the long term that to continue. They're going to go back to the long-term trends that, almost all major metros have seen in the last 20, 30 years. But and this is again a product of that 2020 to 2022 rental price spike that we saw right after the pandemic. That really put everything out of balance. We're actually under the trend lines now because of this decline in prices. But we were expecting to see some sort of decline in price. But now, like I said, the trends are actually past what we were expecting to see. And so eventually, regression to the mean always wins, and we should see a trend in the upward direction at some point.
Okay. I guess that's a data analyst saying regression to the means always wins. That is data analyst Garrett Archer at ABC 15. You can find him on social media as the data guru, of course.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.